Tucker. I'm a program manager at the North Carolina Business Committee for Education. I've been working here for about 4 years and I really enjoy it so far. So to tell you a little bit about NCBCE, we are a 501c3 nonprofit based in the governor's office. We've been around for about 40 years. We were established by Governor Jim Hunt back in the 80s. And our main goal is to connect businesses with educators and be able to create work-based learning opportunities for students that align with business needs that align with what companies are needing now and what's going to prepare students for the jobs of tomorrow. And so our board is made up of local business leaders, and that's businesses like Google and Lenovo, Red Hat, all these businesses that are based in North Carolina across many different sectors. And they help us to create different programs that are going to help students gain career-ready skills. And you guys are probably pretty familiar with this graphic, and so this just shows how we try to also approach our work-based learning opportunities, creating things that go from awareness and exploration, maybe more for like middle school, to also getting that like actual hands-on learning and preparation, and then even participating in things like pre-apprenticeships and all those internships and other things like that, where they can really get that hands-on job experience. And to show you kind of some of the programs that we have quite a few. So this is just a slide filled with like all our different logos for our different programs, but you'll see that we have quite a lot and they go across a bunch of different sectors. So like Building Bright Futures is apprenticeships in early childhood education. We've got some clean energy initiatives. We've got some tech initiatives, lots of different things for students and teachers. And so we're going to have a couple speakers from NCBCE to talk about the different initiatives. So I believe first up is going to be Megan Johnson to talk about students at work.
Thanks, Sarah, and thanks, Jean, for having us today. We certainly appreciate the partnership we have with DPI. We could not do this without you all, so we appreciate this. Good morning, everyone. I'm Megan Johnson. I'm the program manager with NCBCE, and I'm going to talk about a couple of programs that I manage. One of them is Students at Work, which is our career awareness program specifically for middle school students. As you know, that's a time when students begin thinking about their career interests. They're thinking about the courses they want to take in high school. And while this is available year-round, we typically highlight this in March and even extended it into April this year, just to highlight key industry sectors and expose these students to potential career paths. Students at Work opportunities can be found through the Navigator, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but it is our online platform that connects teachers from around the state with the business community of North Carolina. And every public educator has access to the Navigator through NC Ed Cloud and also our website. So typically in the fall, we start reaching out to businesses to determine what kind of program, Students at Work program they want to participate in. And they can participate in a number of ways. They can choose to host students at their work site. They can choose to travel to a school and offer presentations to students, or they can do a virtual program. And we typically see all types of programs, which allows a lot of flexibility for both teachers and the businesses. So businesses put the program they want to offer on the Navigator, and then usually around January or February, teachers can start logging on to the Navigator. They can find Students at Work opportunities and then connect with the business that way. So they can book a Students at Work program through the Navigator, and then the business gets an alert that a teacher is interested in their program, and then they use the Navigator to complete that booking and work out logistics with the teacher through the Navigator. So a really great way to connect with businesses. And this year we've had a lot of great interactive, engaging experiences. We have had field trips with Duke Energy. Lenovo's hosted students at their office in RTP just last week. I've one this morning, Enbridge Gas, which used to be Dominion Energy. They're hosting students from Chapel Hill. The UNC School of Dentistry has hosted students. Mission Health out in Asheville has held a virtual program for students. So a lot of variety there. And again, this is something that teachers can find throughout the year, but typically March and April tend to be big field trip months. And we just find that it's nice to highlight different industry sectors in March and April. So a great way to get involved there. And I think the next slide we have is another program that we have for educators called the Governor's Educator Discovery Award. And this is a way for us to value the professional development that educators are seeking as they advance in their career. And we provide a stipend of up to $1,000 for educators to pursue a professional development experience of their choosing. So teachers can apply, they submit a video that discusses what the professional development experience is that they are seeking, how it's going to benefit them and their classroom and their teaching practices. And then the applications are reviewed by a panel of business leaders and educators. And we typically select around 5 educators to receive that $1,000 stipend.
Thank you, Megan.
Thank you.
Next, we're going to talk about what Megan mentioned before, the Navigator. So the Navigator is an online tool that educators and businesses can use to connect. It's essentially kind of like Facebook Marketplace, but for work-based learning opportunities. And so this is something that is at no cost to the employer or to the educator who's using it. Everyone who has an NC Ed Cloud login can access this site through their NC Ed Cloud login and their dashboard. But this is just where you can log on and you can see all sorts of work-based learning opportunities, whether that be work site tours, guest speakers, career fairs, all these different things that might be available, but also like static tools like worksheets or activities that companies might have come up. Like I think Duke Energy has some like that they've come up with different activities that you can do with your students to kind of teach them about energy. So that's what you can use the Navigator for. It also connects to nccareers.org, which is the statewide career platform as well. So this is just an example of the Navigator platform. So right here, you'll see a bunch of different resources. So these are the sort of resources that are more interactive. So we've got a guest speaker resource right here with Amazing Studios, another guest speaker. We've got a worksite tour with All Tech right here. And so this is what you want to use if you want to have that kind of face-to-face experience with your students. You can request these things. Sometimes they can be guest speakers can come speak to your students virtually, so you can set up a call like this with your classroom, or it can be a actual in-person like a worksite tour. And then other resources are going to be like this. So these are called information resources. And so these are those static resources that you can pull whenever. So that's going to be different things like learning activities, like Dominion Energy. Duke Energy has this mobile app, Kilowatt Crush. So that's another activity that students can be doing. And it's an app, it's a game, but they're also learning about energy and learning about sustainability and things like that. So these are the more static resources. We also have a lot of things called career spotlights. So we go out to different businesses and we film the people working at those businesses. So we try to get people in all different departments because, a place like Duke Energy, you think it's just like the people going up the polls, but it's actually like people in the IT, people in HR, people in marketing. There's so many jobs there that students might not know about when they think about this company. So we do a lot of career spotlights and we post those videos up here. And so that's another resource that you can pull from this site, and you can show that to your students as well. There's just lots of cool resources up here. You can also go here if you're hosting something at your school, like a career fair, and you're looking for people to come to career fair. This is where you can kind of start finding some people and reaching out. So this is a really cool tool that you guys can utilize. Next is Ready Set App. So Ready Set App is a competition that I actually manage. So this is a statewide app building competition for high school students, and that was created in partnership with Lenovo. We've had it, we're in our 6th year now. And so this competition tasks students to build a mobile app to solve a problem in their school or community. And so we have grown so much over the years. This year we had, I think, over 100 teams sign up initially, and then they turned in their apps about mid-March, and that was about 50 something apps that got turned in. So that's 50 original mobile apps that students across the state have made. They participate in teams of 3 to 5. And so that's students from all over the state making original mobile apps. And they had a ton of different topics from sustainability to food scarcity to I'm trying to think of other things like time management things that affect students, trying to plan and, be on top of their schoolwork, all sorts of different things. And so that's been really exciting seeing the different apps and the different ideas that students come up with, what's on their mind, what world issues are on their mind. And from there, we vote on the top apps. So we had a panel of probably like 50 judges, and those are business leaders, educators, industry experts. We had plenty of volunteers from Lenovo who did this voting, and we were able to come up with our top 9 teams. Usually it's top 8, but we had a tie, and so we had to do top 9 this year. And those top 9 teams are actually coming to the final competition, which will be in person at Lenovo headquarters in Morrisville next Friday, actually. And so they're going to be on stage pitching their apps to a panel of judges and an audience of their peers and parents and other people. So they're going to be on stage pitching their apps, and that's going to give them the chance to win cool prizes from Lenovo. So they're going to win. Last year, they won laptops, tablets, Legion Goes, which are like portable gaming devices that I didn't even know existed, but portable gaming devices Lenovo makes. But it's just a really cool opportunity for these students to get interested in STEM and different STEM topics. And again, kind of learn about the different jobs that go into these tech fields. So they might not think about when it comes to building an app, they think it's all just coding. But yes, there's coding, but there's also the design portion of it. So who's making the graphics and who's choosing the colors? And then there's also the pitch portion. So you got to think about your marketing of it. How do we market this product? So there's a lot of different aspects that go into this. So students are getting a lot of different skills that will get them ready for the workforce and hopefully introduce them to new career pathways. And so we're really excited to hold that competition next week. Next up is, I believe, Sam.
All right. Good morning, everyone. I'm Sam Saunders. I'm a program manager for NCBCE's Tech Team and Digital Ambassador Initiatives. I'm actually based out of a separate organization called Hometown Strong, which is the rural engagement and support arm of the governor's office. We've partnered with NCBCE to run these 2 programs because about 70% of our teams that are participating in these 2 programs are in rural counties, and we want to continue to expand them into Tier 1 and rural counties. So the first program here is Tech Team, which was started in 2020 in direct response to the pandemic when school districts were one-to-one with devices, and they went one-to-one almost overnight, which increased the device support ratio in IT departments from about 1 staff person for every 400 devices to 1 staff person for every 4,000 devices. So a significant increase. And so when remote learning is so critical at that time, and there's a backlog of device support needs, student instructional time was taking a drastic hit. And of course, we did not want that. So NCBCE was approached by Halifax County Public Schools actually to find a solution. And in the summer of 2020, Tech Team was started. So this program trains students in device repairs and IT support, and students actually earn an hourly wage as they work on these devices, and they can repair cracked screens, missing keys, battery issues, and so much more to get them back in the hands of their peers faster. The districts through this program have also seen significant cost savings because they no longer have to ship their devices off to a company for repair. So in doing this, students are learning technical skills that are transferable to an entry-level tech support job, and those jobs are growing rapidly across North Carolina. And if a student wants to pursue higher education in technology, they have a solid foundation on which they can build from this program. We go to the next slide. Thank you. So the next program here is Digital Ambassadors, which is a sister program to Tech Team, kind of adapting that same model. It was started 2 years ago. And this program trains high school students on how to work with and teach adults, and then deploys them into the communities to teach digital literacy skills to older adults and other underserved population. So about 1.2 million North Carolinians don't have the skills necessary to take advantage of online resources like telehealth and online banking. And this also means that they're more likely to fall victim to online scams. And so with broadband and internet access options increasing across the state over time, we're likely to see an increase in the need for digital literacy education options like this, so that we can prevent folks from being scammed, and so that they can use those online resources for whatever they need, like, which also includes workforce development options like certifications. Um, so to train students, we worked with a consultant to develop an online course with 5 modules: being a strong communicator, working with adults, designing, learning, digital citizen, and interacting through technology. Um, and we have implemented a badging system into that curriculum to serve as a recognizable piece of credentialing as students move through the modules, and it will help, those micro credentials help propel their resume forward as well. And upon completion of each module, they earn a badge. And at the end of the modules, they will earn a 6th badge, a 6th digital ambassador badge. And those credentials are endorsed by NCBCE, so we back them up. And like Tech Team, our digital master students are paid an hourly wage for their work, which gives them job experience while in high school, as well as soft skills like professional communication and problem solving. And finally, this program bridges the generational gap that we continuously see between our youth and our aging population. So we just had a team in Guilford County actually conduct a workshop at a retirement center. And both the students and the adult learners had like such a wonderful experience, and the feedback was so positive from just learning and communicating with each other. So Digital Ambassadors is finishing up its pilot phase, and right now we have 9 teams, including 1 team that is fully bilingual, so it can teach digital literacy skills in both Spanish and English. We have another team at the Governor Moorhead School for the Blind, and they work with low to no vision folks on improving digital literacy skills and accessing tools for improved digital literacy for those kinds of folks. And then one of our newest teams is actually focused on working with veterans. So we're really excited about those. And I'm not sure who is next.
Me. Hi there, I'm Christy Sauls. I am the newest member of NCBCE. I am the director of our newest initiative, Career Launch, that we were awarded an ABA grant for back in the late summer of 2024. So Career Launch gives us an opportunity to work with our high schools in pre-apprenticeship opportunities. Here you see listed the industry sectors that we have, which many of them pair up with some of the already pre-apprenticeships that DPI has for high school students in hospitality, information and technology, early childhood, in our skilled trades, and in our healthcare sector. So with NC Career Launch, again, it is providing connections with business and educational partners, but also is able to provide some financial support and guidance to our participants. And that not only do we include our participants being our students, but also our mentors that are mentoring our young students as well. So Sierra, if you'll go to the next slide.
What else is? You gotta have secret now.
With Career Launch, some of the benefits for our students, we actually have funding for students who complete. Now, these are registered pre-apprenticeships with the Apprenticeship NC. They do receive a $500 success stipend upon completion of their NC Career Launch apprenticeship program. Also, if there's any tuition fees through Career and College Promise, through the community college, they receive funding for that. If there's any funding associated with it, like books, fees, because we know the tuition is already waived for the community college. And also it leads into a registered a registered apprenticeship pathway into what I like to call the adult apprenticeship program. It also provides students with industry recognized credentials that could potentially lead to degrees. But as I said, not only does it benefit our students, there's also benefits to our employers where we're able to provide some funding for human resource support. There's a stipend for mentors. So we give a $500 stipend to mentors who are taking on these students. And also, the other thing that we're working on building out is a mentor training program, because often we ask people to be mentors and it's like, what does that mean? What is a mentor exactly? So we want to have a great experience for not only our students, but for our employers. So as you CTE instructors and CDCs are working to put students in maybe some of those work-based learning experiences for your high school juniors and seniors, please consider letting it be a registered pre-apprenticeship with DPI. Now, again, we don't serve all the sectors that DPI currently has registered apprenticeships for, but if they're a part of this, if they're in the initiative, the sector that you saw earlier, there's definitely funding there for them. The biggest thing we have to make sure is students are in NCRAN and they have that NCRAN identification number, so we can make sure that once they complete their program, we're able to provide them with a stipend. Next slide, please. One initiative that we also have that kind of goes hand in hand with NC Career Launch is our SEED program. SEED was developed in the fall of 23, launched in the summer of 24 as an initiative for advanced manufacturing, and it is growing as SEEDs do. It is growing this year also into the ag industry sector, and then next year it will be adding the business administration sector. But it began as a focus to really look at our industrial systems and mechatronics, which are two high demand industry occupations here in Eastern North Carolina. And as I said, it will be growing. In the summer of 24, we actually started with 35 students at Wayne and Lenore community colleges, and all of them completed their program. Not only did all of them complete their pre-apprenticeship program, we were able to place 4 of them into registered apprenticeship programs. And why is that important? Because once a student completes a pre-apprenticeship that has been registered with the state, and then we can get them into a registered apprenticeship program, their complete tuition at the community college is paid for the duration of their program. So students really can earn a degree, earn credentials. And I don't want to just say a degree. They can earn, maybe it's just a certificate, maybe it's a diploma, maybe it's just credentials. And I don't mean just, because there's some great jobs out there in our workforce continuing education. If they're in an electrical program that is ran through Con Ed, they can go through that and earn what it takes to be a certified electrician. But all of that is completely paid for if they're in an apprenticeship program within 120 days of completing a pre-apprenticeship program at high school graduation. So it is a great benefit for our students to really try to work with these pre-apprenticeship that can lead into apprenticeship programs. You see here also, as I mentioned, it is expanding this year to James Front, Sampson, and Wilson Community College. And right now we're set to have about 70 to 72 students in the program this summer. It does run through our Career and College Promise program. So for advanced manufacturing, students were able to earn 9 credit hours through the community college that leads into an apprenticeship program. They earn and learn, and they were paid to come to school. So we actually paid them $15 an hour to come to class. They were paid for about 32 hours a week. We also gave them a gas stipend. A gas stipend was included as well to help offset the cost of them coming to campus. If transportation was not provided for them, then we were able to use that gas stipend to find a creative way to get them to campus. And here are just some of the companies that were involved last year in making this program very successful. One thing about SEED, we were not able to have what I call that true work-based learning experience where students were actually able to go out and receive on-the-job training. So we brought that work experience to them. On Thursdays, we kind of adopted what Megan talked about, our students at work. We were able to take them to tours. We were able to have industry partners come in and talk with them. We were able to have industry HR managers come in, talk to them about mock interviews, resume writing, the importance of a good handshake. Especially we had some females in the group, and we really talked to them about it's okay. You can have a firm, not overpowering handshake, but you don't have to have that dead fish handshake that so many of them sometimes give us as females. Also with our SEED program this summer, we're bringing back teachers at work. This summer, we're actually offering an externship for our teachers here in Wayne County to come in and run through a week of a SEED program on a much smaller scale, but where they're actually able to come in, experience what the students are doing and learning about so they can go back and talk with it to their classes. They will also be taking tours to, again, begin helping bridge that connection with our industry partners. So hopefully industry can start getting into the high schools a little easier in Wayne County as well. So I like to say the SEED model has taken some of the best practices that NCBCE has and has really tried to braid all of them together. Is there another slide? Okay, that's my contact information. I do want to give you this information because as you are beginning to work with students or as you're working with students for work-based learning experience, if it's not a pre-apprenticeship, we might be able to turn it into an apprenticeship because there's a lot of ways that we can link our pre-apprenticeships. And it's not a hard process, it just takes a little time with, as everything else does, to be able to link it. But if you're working with a student that you know is in a pre-apprenticeship, you can work with Jean because she is a great asset to our team to let us know what's going on in the state. But please connect with us so we can work to get the funding out. We do have our career launch grant for 4 years. We have a goal of serving at least 650 students over the next 4 years. There is no connection to the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 counties. I know in the past there has been some funding that has been tiered. All students in the state are eligible for the funding. The requirement is they have to be a high school student. If they're going into a program this summer, but we get them registered before high school graduation, they would be able to be eligible for funding as well upon completion of the program. So that's just a little bit about Career Launch. And I think we're now ready to open it up to questions, Jean.
Awesome. Ladies, thank you for sharing all of that wonderful information, some great work-based learning opportunities. You guys, this is a time where if you have questions, please, you can open up your camera, you can put your question in the chat. But this is our time to ask those questions and see how we can start some of these partnerships, or if you just need clarification, you need more details on one of those particular programs. Can digital ambassadors be done anywhere in the state?
It absolutely can. There's no geographic limitations, nothing like that. It can be done in high school, and we have also just started our first middle school team as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Sam. Diane, great question.
Will we get a copy of these slides?
Yes, you
Okay.
will. You get a copy, and you'll get also there will be a copy of the recording that will be placed in the Moodle.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Jean, I want to add one thing that I wrote down and I cannot believe it. We actually have a healthcare accelerator with our NC Career Launch goal. We have the the goal of having multiple accelerators across the state over the next couple of years. And on April 30th, we are actually having our first healthcare accelerator where we're bringing K-12 systems in, community college systems, and we're asking for employers. And that may be hospitals, it may be medical facilities, it may be long-term care, but we have over 100 participants who have registered to come to this healthcare accelerator with the hopes to build pre-apprenticeships in the healthcare sector, whether that's maybe a CNA pathway that leads to RN, or whether it's a medical assisting that can lead into other pathways, phlebotomist, whatever that may look like. But the beautiful thing is that we're trying to do is we're really trying to create pathways so students see I can start here as a pre-apprentice and I have the opportunity to journey on to whatever their end goal is. But if they can't, that's okay. There's an off-ramp here with a credential that still gives them a great job with great family sustaining wages. Like I said, if you're interested or if you're not sure if someone from your school system's coming and you want to come, please reach out to me and let us know, and we'll see if we can find some space to put you. But that's a great way to really bring a group together and work towards creating something great for our students. As Sierra mentioned earlier, if you're not partnering with, it might have been Jean, if you're not partnering with NCBCE, I really have to say you're missing out. I actually came from a community college background that it was through the SEED initiative that I was able to connect with them. And I was like, where have y'all been my whole life? Because they really do make your job a lot easier, because with the connections and just some of the programs that they have are great that I knew nothing about. I know I mentioned SEED, it's an Eastern North Carolina thing, but if someone on here is in the Western part, like how can we make that happen? Reach out. We can work with you. We will help you build programs, connect you with the right people to make great things happen in your community.
One of the other things that you guys haven't said, which I think is kind of, I don't want to say just assumed, but if you guys are trying to get in with an employer and you are coming up with challenges on who to talk to, but you really want to work with that employer, NCBCE has a way of breaking down some of those barriers for our people to get into some of these businesses. So again, there are resources. They have all of these programs already, but again, the whole initiative was set up, was it, Sierra, you said 42, almost 43 years ago by Governor Hunt to engage education, business and industry, government, to make sure that we are providing these opportunities for students. So if you got any questions, you definitely can reach out to one of these ladies that have been on the call today. Diane did have a follow-up question about the digital ambassadors. Is it an application process?
It is not actually. Our biggest requirement and what we look for when we're bringing on a team is that we have a local champion, is what we call them, and that's an adult on the ground who is ready and willing to do the work to get the digital ambassador team up and running and out into the community. If we don't have a local champion who's motivated and wants to get out there with those students and give them this opportunity and work with their community members, then we don't see teams be as successful as our other teams who do have stellar champions.
Okay, thank you. And I don't know if you saw in the chat that there have been some tech teams that have said, like, this has worked so well in our school system, and they've actually turned it around, and now their school system's a registered apprenticeship employer. And so those students they can now turn that tech team initiative into a pre-apprenticeship. And then at the end, if they want to hire somebody to come into their school system as a technician, they can do that. And then that student gets to go to school for that supplemental education free, like Christy talked about.
That's right. Thank you for the reminder, Jean. We actually have tomorrow actually is our signing day for our tech team students in Granville County who are signing as pre-apprentices and one full adult apprentice to the Granville County school system to work in their IT department, actually. So, you know, the apprenticeship model is great, and that's kind of what some tech teams are headed towards, and we're rolling them into NC Career Launch, and we're braiding that funding, and it's been really great for those students.
Absolutely. And I'll just, continue to add on to that. We're talking about the Tech Team Initiative, but as a small rural county, your school system might be the largest employer in that area. So it might be advantageous to become a registered employer to kind of fill some of those spaces, some of those positions that have been sitting open, or the fact that that people are getting ready to retire, and you've got to have somebody that's come in that's knowledgeable to do it. And when you've got that active audience right there in your school, you got talent there. It's kind of like a win-win for everybody. Other questions?
Jean, I wanted to chime in and say something else about Ready Set App that I forgot earlier.
Okay.
So Ready Set App, as I explained, is an app building competition for high school students. So it's a work-based learning opportunity in and of itself, but we also have an internship portion. So we actually hire high school students to be interns as well for the competition, and they act as peer mentors to the teams in this competition. So the teams that are competing might be students who don't have any experience in coding and app design. And so we hire high school students who have a little bit more experience. Maybe they've been in the competition before, or maybe they've just done coding on their own, whether that be coding for apps or coding in other platforms, coding for websites or something. It's usually transferable. But we just have high school students who have a little bit more experience who join as interns, and they get to act as peer mentors to those teams that are competing. So meeting with them on a regular basis to help them guide them through the app journey, help guide them through how to troubleshoot different problems, how to manage their time so that they can finish the different components in time for the submission, all that sort of stuff. And that's also a paid internship. So we also are big about, giving students the opportunity to learn and practice their leadership skills as well, and also paying them to do so. So if you have students who maybe already have some experience in coding and they want to join as an intern, they can also apply to do that. We usually start Ready Set App. It goes with the school year. So internship applications usually open around September, like Labor Day. And then the actual applications for teams will open up a little bit later after we've hired the interns. I just wanted to throw that out there as well.
An absolutely wonderful opportunity. And we're talking about, again, that student intern could be anywhere in the state because it's a virtual opportunity. Virtual opportunity. Any other questions? I don't want to press, but I know you received a lot of great information, and you may be trying to process what would work in your county, or what would you like to take on, or if you have further questions. Again, this is going to be posted in the Moodle, in the work-based learning Moodle. But if you have any other questions, you guys don't hesitate to reach out to any of the young ladies that at NCBCE. If you can't remember their specific name, you're more than welcome to email me, and I can get you in touch with the right person. But ladies, I don't want to just hang on just for the sake of waiting to see if we have any other questions. But I do thank all of you guys for coming out and joining us today. I hope that you receive some valuable information, something that you feel like you can take and implement relatively easy in your school. But thank you very much. NCBCE, ladies, thank you for always continuing to partner with us to provide these valuable opportunities for our students. So everyone, I hope that you have a wonderful Wednesday. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jean, for
you.
having us.